Ahoy, Skipper. This is Uncle Neal, and I am going to give you a brief demonstration of the fire control systems in the new co-op Subsim HMS Marulken. Submarine simulations have three major elements to the gameplay: perception of the enemy, obtaining a firing solution, and attacking and evasion. In this demo, we're going to focus on the first two. Radar holds a contact northwest of us. We'll intercept him by closing up the range and catching him as he comes south. We can go to the bridge for visual contact. See, he is about 7,000 to 8,000 meters, 20 points off our starboard bow. And we're going to set course due west, maximum speed, try to intercept him before he gets within visual range of us. Order the chief to take the boat down to periscope depth. Pull up the compass and see we are still traveling due west, 270 degrees. Making good progress in closing up the range. Go ahead and take a look through the periscope. Look for visual contact of the target. It's worth repeating that this is a very early alpha build of the game. There are a lot of elements in it that are not quite fine-tuned as you would expect in a finished game. For example, you can see enemy vessels through the water at some points. We're closing the range. Target's easier to see. If you need to orient yourself, you can always back off the periscope and determine which direction you're looking. Target is close enough now you can start the identification process. Pull up the ship ID book, determine which ship you're looking at. Look at the mast height. In this case, the mast height is 45 meters. You want to turn the dial at the bottom of the periscope until you get 45 meters. This is what you're going to use to determine the range. Now at this distance, it's not going to be extremely accurate, but it gives us a starting point. Line the horizontal crosshair with the water line of the ship, and then you'll use the statometer to pull up the ghost image. Place the bottom of the ghost image on the top of the mast. That gives you a range of 1773. Move over the torpedo data computer, and for target distance, you'll want to enter approximately 1770. It's a good time to go ahead and set your torpedo depth. I usually set it at 3 meters. And the target speed, which I start off around 4 meters per second with military vessels like escorts and destroyers. The next piece of data we want to get is the angle on the bow, which direction the ship is pointing in relation to us. In this case, you can see that they're pointing directly at us, which is a 0 angle on the bow. In fact, you can almost see the mast lining up, giving us a really accurate reading of our angle on the bow. You go to the torpedo data computer, change the angle on the bow to 0 or very close to it. Last, we want to get the target bearing. We put the crosshairs on the ship. We back off the periscope and look at the bearing indicator at the bottom of the periscope. We'll enter that information into the TDC. The game calls this target angle. Now we've got our first settings in the TDC, our first fire control solution. We're going to go ahead and take a few minutes, let the target come on, getting closer to us. And we'll get another set of observations and see how close we are. This is how we fine tune it for the most accurate solution possible. The observed bearing is different from the torpedo data computer bearing that I put in, which means that the speed estimate I originally entered was It's too slow. So I'll change that. The target is really closing the range now, but he's presenting a very, very sharp angle of the bow. Not the best presentation for a torpedo shot. I'll get a new range estimate and I'll fine tune that. From the orientation of the periscope, you can tell that the target is passing us quickly at close range to the right. So I'll go ahead and order right full rudder and bring the boat around to get the bow pointed at the ship. I should have a pretty good angle of the bow, around 90 degrees, at a very close range, probably around 400 to 500 meters. In a normal game, I'd have a man stationed here to do this for me, but I'd be able to stay at the periscope. As you can see, we're making our turn. I anticipate the ship's course something along these lines here. I'm going to bring the sub around to about 30 degrees. I'll be facing him at that angle. We have 30 degrees. I'll go ahead and take some speed off the boat because we do have to keep track of how many amps we're using from the batteries. I'll head back up to the control room, get a last set of bearings and range, see if I can take a shot. As you can see, I've got a pretty good angle now, just about 90 degrees, very close range. I don't even need magnification. You can tell from the orientation of the periscope, he's just passing our bow to the right. I'll go back in, reset the bearing, reset the angle on the bow. I get another quick range. As you can see, my window of opportunity is closing very quickly. Range checks with the torpedo data computer. I'll adjust my angle of the bow. One last quick look for bearing. Okay, bearing checks. Checks computer. Fire one. Make a small adjustment to the angle of the bow. Fire another one. Make one more. Fire a third one. I'll make an opposite adjustment and fire one more. That's how I control my spread in this game. Now all we can do is sit and wait and hope our firing solution was accurate. There's not going to be a second chance to hit this guy. Torpedo hit. Not much left of this guy after one torpedo. I hope that stuff doesn't land on my periscope. I have a second hit. Just a poor wreck and a third hit. It's 3 out of 4. Fourth is a miss. Detonate at the end of the run. I see I have company. So now it's time to switch to that third part of Subsim gameplay, evasion. Let's head back to engineering. We'll go deep, increase speed and change course, and then switch to silent running. Scavator Studio, the developer of this game, tell me that they plan to have more map tools and manual navigation in the final version. Charts indicate about 90 meters. That's deep enough. Hold at this depth. Reduce speed. rig for silent running. While I'm back here, I'll switch to the other battery. Keep battery 1 in reserve. There you have it, my friends. Successful attack. I hope you got some benefit out of this. Learned a little bit about the torpedo data computer in this game and all the tools for obtaining an accurate firing solution. I hope to see you in the Subsim Teamspeak. You can join my crew anytime. Look me up. This is a pretty good game. I'm hoping the developers are able to reach their Kickstarter goal. What the hell? That looks like a leak. Chief! Chief, bring a bucket!